Hello everyone, and welcome to the U.S. Immigration Foundation. I'm James Baker, and I'm so excited to have today attorney Joaquin Rosales.
Thank you for having me, Jim. Hi, how are you?
So I refer most of my clients, I have a tax practice, to Joaquin. He's helped many clients over the year, and I want to make a couple videos going over some of the basics and the most common questions that we get. And the first one is, Joaquin, how do you help your clients decide which immigration option is the best, which visa is the best to apply for when immigrating into the United States?
Well, typically we want to talk to the potential client, and we want to see what their ultimate goal is, right? What they want to do here, why they want to come here. So after you find that out, then you start figuring out which route is applicable to the person, right? Obviously, you know that if you have family members in here, you can come here through family petitions, etc. But that's not the case for everybody. And then you start going through the list, whether or not investment is something that they're looking into. Maybe an investment visa, maybe they want to study here, maybe want a student visa. Perhaps they have talents, right, in their particular field that they want to bring to the United States. There's merit-based visas, and there's employment-based visas. So I mean, it really comes down to what the person wants to do here in the United States, or the person's profile, we can say as well, to see what other options are there for the person.
Great answer. So let me repeat it back to you. So we have different visa options, right? There's, I guess there's investment visas.
Yep.
There's merit-based visas.
Correct.
And then there's family petition visas, which is, you usually start from there, right? Those are the...
Yeah, well, usually you go from there, right? Do you have any family members in here? Because typically, you know, immigration is a very complex field overall, but comparably, family petitions are easier than, say, an investment visa or a merit-based visa, right? So you start there. Do you have any family members or anyone who could do a petition for you? And then you move up to, say, investment. Is that something that's possible for you, feasible for you in terms of money? Because obviously you have to invest money in order to do so. Then you go through sort of what the person does, what's their profession, what can they perhaps bring into the United States that the United States will be interested in, right? So that's where you start to focus on, say, merit-based visas. Then perhaps they are, executives at a corporation, and they want to sort of expand their corporation over here, or they already have, say, a subsidiary here. That's another type of visas, transfer of executives. Mm-hmm. So, and you just basically go through a list and the profile of the person and see what the person can choose or utilize in order to apply for a visa here.
Yeah, the options available. Okay, so I didn't even think about that. So of course you have the family petitions, right, maybe student visas, which are kind of similar. Right. Oh, they're not similar, but they're more administrative, right?
Yeah, well, exactly. They're a little bit less evidence, should we say, that needs to be presented.
So when you're starting from the family petitions, those are kind of like factual, you have family or you don't, you apply, you don't, the means test is kind of loose in terms of like, okay. Correct. So that's, and then you get to the investment visas, which are very numbers based.
Correct.
And they're very, and those are things where you can put together a solid case and have a pretty good assurance. And then the last ones are the merit based, which are more opinionated, more heavily reviewed, and more scrutinized, I suppose.
That is correct. Exactly. That's exactly how it goes. And once again, it goes back to the profile of the person, right? What the person wants to do, can do, and has done. Yeah, we review it overall, and then we start giving out options based on that, right?
So if you have, let's throw out an example. A person from, let's say Brazil. They're not an E2 treaty country, right? They're not. So you have, and we'll talk about that in another video. Subscribe to whatever channel this is on so you can see the next videos, because we have a lot more stuff coming. Yes. We're cramming a lot into this like 5-6 minute video here. Yes. But you say you have an executive from Brazil, he has a company there, he has money he could invest, but he also could qualify for merit-based visas. He's planning to come, so the question would be like, how long do you want to be in the U.S. for? Do you want to be here permanently? Do you want to be a tax resident? Like, there's a lot of questions.
That's where obviously, you come in and you play heavily on those decisions of the people that want to move over here, because there's secondary things that you have to think about, like tax planning, pre-immigration tax planning, how that's going to affect you, or the assets that you have or you hold prior to moving to the United States. Do you want to be here temporarily? Is that going to affect you tax-wise? Do you want to be here permanently? That's definitely going to affect you tax-wise. So you have to really sort of dive in and not only on the from an immigration perspective, but from a tax perspective to make that determination, right? That could swing your decision as to which visa you want to do, right? Because you don't have the same sort of tax consequences as if you're doing a permanent residency here, as opposed to say you have a temporary visa, whichever that may be.
Yes, because in between all the different options of the visas that you can choose from, different categories, they all have different, let's say, outcomes, right? Some don't give you residency. They're kind of not provisional, but it's a temporary residency. You have to reapply, like I believe the L1s and the E2s, and most of the employee the H1Bs, like those are all. Most of the employee and the light investor ones, I would say, are more they don't get you a green card.
Correct.
So you can stay in the U.S. for less than half a year and not be a tax resident. Whereas most of the merit-based visas and the EB-5, the big investment visa are, and of course the family petitions are residency visas, right?
Correct. Yeah. So the term visa is used interchangeably when it comes to residency or just a temporary visa.
Okay.
Because you need to. We're not going to get into all the boring details of it. Maybe later in a different video. But so essentially, just like you said, some of them are just temporary. You have to renew them, and then the mere fact that you're here for such a prolonged time, even though it's a temporary visa, does have tax consequences. So just the fact that it's not, or say, a permanent residency, doesn't mean that certain tax laws, and obviously you're an expert on this, don't apply to you after you're here for a certain period of time. But yes, you are correct in that you have to sort of know what is your ultimate goal, how long you want to be here, and there's some visas that you can literally renew indefinitely, like the E2. So you could be living here on an E2 for 20-25 years, and it's fine. Obviously the business has to continue to grow, and
you need to renew it, but you need to qualify when you renew.
That's exactly. So, and then you have the permanent residency ones, just like you listed. It really depends on the person's circumstances and what they want to do here in the States.
And if you want to be a permanent resident, basically you start with the visa, right? And then you get your green card, and then after 4 years you can apply for citizenship after you've had a green card for 5 years. 5 years, okay.
Right.
So I think we can both agree, in summary, there are a number of different options if you want to immigrate to the U.S., and the best way is to get a consultation with an attorney who knows what they're talking about to discuss your options. Because in my Brazil executive example, he could come on a merit visa, potentially. He could come on an investment visa.
Executive transfer visa.
And employment visa. You can make, that's what the kind of the point of some of these videos are, is we can present your facts in a way, I say we, I'm not an immigration attorney, but your attorney can present your facts in a way which supports the applications of different visas, and the only way to determine the best option for you is to talk to an attorney who knows at least a little about all the visas, and then you can specialize in whichever one, right?
And that's a good point. I mean, to highlight something that you mentioned earlier, you don't, there's several options, right? It's not like you get married to one visa, right? Application process. You can have several processes going on at the same time. Perhaps you have one process that's going to take longer just to get your residency, but in the meantime, you want to be here in a different type of visa, say like a student visa, right? And you're studying, you're finding whatever education you might, maybe learning English, and at the same time, you have a separate parallel process for your residency, and that could be based maybe on a job that you got offered, and you have a company that wants to sponsor you. Maybe you want to do an investment. So there's mix and match that you can do as well.
Yeah, maybe you need to get residency through a family petition so you can get a job that was offered because they're not going to sponsor you, whatever.
Exactly, yeah.
So wherever you're watching this, like, subscribe. There should be a way for you to contact Joaquin or myself. We hope to help you. I wish you the best success in your visa journey. If you want to come to the U.S., there's a lot of great opportunities here. We love living here.
For sure.
And thanks for watching. I hope you got something out of this. Thanks.